He was a 29-year-old billionaire CEO who'd sworn off love, convinced every woman only wanted his fortune. She was the new intern who accidentally overheard him explode about gold diggers on her very first day. What neither of them expected was that a single photograph would turn their professional relationship into the office's biggest scandal, with his socialite ex plotting revenge, his powerful mother issuing threats, and Naomi's own painful past showing up to tear them apart. Just when they thought they'd found something real in a world built on lies, the people who were supposed to love them most would force an impossible choice. Subscribe and comment if you've ever had to fight for love when the whole world said you weren't good enough, because this story proves that sometimes the simplest love requires the bravest heart. The boardroom was too quiet. Ethan Cole sat at the head of the long glass table, his jaw tight. 10 executives stared at their papers. Nobody wanted to speak. The morning sun poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows, but the light felt harsh, not warm. "Sir, about the Patterson account," one of the older men began. "I don't want to hear it." Ethan's voice was low, controlled. "The deal fell through because someone leaked confidential information." Again, his blue eyes swept the room. Nobody met his gaze. Ethan was only 29, but he looked older today. Dark suit, expensive watch, hair perfectly styled. Everything about him screamed success, power, control. But inside he was tired. So tired. His phone buzzed on the table. Another text. Another woman he'd met at some charity event last month, asking if he was free for dinner. He didn't even remember her name. "Sir, perhaps we should—" "You know what I'm tired of?" Ethan stood up suddenly. His chair scraped against the polished floor. "I'm tired of people who only care about what they can take from me." The executives shifted in their seats. "I'm tired of women who smile and bat their eyes and pretend to care, when all they want is access to my bank account." His voice rose. "I'm done with gold diggers who wouldn't give me the time of day if I was broke." One of the women at the table looked uncomfortable. "I want something real," Ethan said, his fist hitting the table. "I want a simple woman, someone genuine, someone who doesn't care about designer bags or fancy restaurants or my last name." The silence that followed was thick. "Meeting adjourned," he muttered, grabbing his phone. As the executives filed out, murmuring to each other, Ethan ran a hand through his hair. He shouldn't have exploded like that. It wasn't professional. But the words had been building up inside him for months, maybe years, and they'd just burst out. He turned toward the windows, looking down at the city below. Cars moved like toys. People walked to their regular jobs, their regular lives. Sometimes he wondered what that felt like. "Mr. Cole?" The voice was soft but clear, female, unfamiliar. Ethan spun around. A young black woman stood in the doorway. She wore a simple gray dress, professional but modest. Her hair was pulled back in a neat bun. She carried a leather folder against her chest like a shield. Her dark eyes were wide, and her cheeks had a slight flush. She'd heard everything. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I didn't mean to interrupt. HR sent me up. I'm Naomi Brooks." "The new intern?" Ethan felt heat creep up his neck. Perfect. Just perfect. His first impression on the new intern was a rant about gold diggers. "Right," he managed. "Welcome to Cole Enterprises." Naomi stepped into the room. She walked with confidence despite the awkward situation. When she reached the table, she extended her hand. "Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Cole. I'm excited to learn from your team." Her handshake was firm, professional. She looked him straight in the eye, no giggling, no flirting, no playing with her hair, just a woman ready to work. Ethan found himself studying her face. She was beautiful in a natural way. No heavy makeup, just clear brown skin and full lips pressed into a polite smile. There was something in her expression, though. Something that said she wasn't impressed by his outburst, or by him. "I'll have my assistant show you to your desk," he said, releasing her hand. "Actually, sir, if you have a moment, I'd like to discuss my project assignments. I reviewed the intern packet, but I have a few questions." Smart, prepared, direct. "Of course." Ethan gestured to a chair. "Please sit." Naomi sat down, opening her folder. Inside were printed documents covered in neat handwritten notes. She'd done her homework. For the next 15 minutes, they talked about her role, her responsibilities, her goals. She asked intelligent questions. She didn't try to impress him with big words or fake knowledge. She was just real. When they finished, Naomi stood and smoothed her dress. "Thank you for your time, Mr. Cole. I promise I won't let you down." "I'm sure you won't, Ms. Brooks." As she walked toward the door, Ethan heard himself say, "And Ms. Brooks." She turned back. "About what you heard earlier." He paused. How did you apologize for something like that? That wasn't appropriate. It was unprofessional and It's okay, Naomi interrupted gently. We all have bad days. I won't mention it to anyone. Her smile was genuine, not mocking, not pitying, just kind. After she left, Ethan sat back down in his chair. He stared at the empty doorway for a long moment. She's different, he thought. Then he shook his head. He'd thought that before about other women. Look how that turned out. Naomi's hands were shaking as she walked down the hallway. She'd just met Ethan Cole. The Ethan Cole, the youngest CEO in the company's history. The man whose face appeared in business magazines and on the covers of those gossip papers at grocery store checkouts. And she'd walked in on him having a complete meltdown about gold diggers. Great start, Naomi, she whispered to herself. Her new desk was in a corner office that overlooked the city. It was small, but had a window, more than most interns got. A computer was already set up, and someone had left a welcome basket with company pens and a mug. Naomi set down her folder and sank into the chair. She let out a long breath. This job was everything to her. She'd worked so hard to get here. 2 jobs through college, endless applications, countless interviews. When the acceptance email came, she'd cried for an hour. This was her shot, her chance to build a real career, to make something of herself, to prove that she was more than her circumstances, and she'd almost blown it by eavesdropping on her boss's private breakdown. Focus, she told herself. You're here to work, just work. But as she powered on her computer, her mind kept drifting back to Ethan's face, the pain in his voice when he talked about being used, the way his shoulders had tensed, like he was carrying the weight of the world. She understood that feeling. Her phone buzzed. A text from her best friend, Jasmine. How's day one? Has Mr. Billionaire Boss fallen in love with you yet? Naomi smiled despite herself. Jasmine always knew how to lighten the mood. It's only been an hour. Give it time. She was joking, of course. Guys like Ethan Cole didn't fall for girls like her. They dated models and actresses and heiresses. Girls with perfect lives and perfect families and trust funds. Girls nothing like Naomi Brooks from the South Side, who'd grown up sharing a bedroom with her 2 sisters and learning to make $1 stretch a week. Her computer finally loaded. Time to get to work. 3 days passed in a blur of meetings, reports, and learning the complex systems that ran Cole Enterprises. Naomi threw herself into every task. She arrived early and stayed late. She asked questions and took notes and made sure everything she touched was perfect. The other employees were friendly enough, though a few gave her curious looks. She was one of the few black interns in the building. It wasn't something she let bother her. She'd dealt with being the only one her entire life, but she felt it nonetheless. On Thursday afternoon, Naomi was reviewing a marketing report when the elevator dinged. A woman stepped out. She was stunning. Long blonde hair that cascaded in perfect waves, a red dress that probably cost more than Naomi's entire wardrobe. Heels so high they should have come with a warning label. Her makeup was flawless, her jewelry sparkled, and she walked like she owned the building. She headed straight for Ethan's office. "Excuse me," Naomi called out. "Do you have an appointment?" The woman stopped and turned. Her blue eyes swept over Naomi with obvious disdain. "I don't need an appointment, sweetheart. Ethan and I are old friends." Something about the way she said old friends made Naomi's stomach twist. "I'm sorry, but Mr. Cole is in a conference call. If you'd like to wait, I'll wait in his office, thanks." Before Naomi could protest, the woman pushed through Ethan's door and closed it behind her. Naomi sat frozen. Should she call security? Interrupt the conference call? What was the protocol here? 5 minutes later, Ethan's door opened. The woman strutted out, followed by Ethan himself. His expression was carefully neutral, but Naomi could see the tension in his jaw. "Chloe, I've told you before." I know, call first. But I was in the neighborhood and I thought we could grab lunch. For old time's sake." Chloe. The name clicked. Naomi had overheard some of the other employees gossiping about Ethan's ex-girlfriend. A model or socialite or something. They dated for 2 years before a dramatic breakup 6 months ago. "I'm busy today," Ethan said firmly. Chloe pouted. Actually pouted. "You're always busy. Don't you miss me even a little?" She reached out to touch his arm, but Ethan stepped back. "Have a good day, Chloe." His tone left no room for argument. Chloe's smile faltered, but she recovered quickly. "Fine, but call me. We need to talk about things." She swept toward the elevator, then paused next to Naomi's desk. "You're the new intern, right?" "Yes, ma'am." Chloe's laugh was light and cold. "Ma'am, how adorable." She leaned down, lowering her voice. A word of advice, honey. Don't get any ideas about Ethan. He's way out of your league. Naomi felt her face heat. I'm not good. Keep it that way. Chloe straightened and flashed a fake smile. See you around. After she left, the office felt colder. Naomi stared at her computer screen, but the words blurred. Her hands clenched into fists under the desk. The dismissive tone, the condescension, the assumption that Naomi would even want to chase after her boss. Ms. Brooks. She looked up. Ethan stood by her desk, his expression apologetic. I'm sorry about that. Chloe can be difficult. It's fine. It's not fine, he sighed. She had no right to speak to you that way. Naomi met his gaze. With all due respect, Mr. Cole, I can handle myself. Something flickered in his eyes. Respect, maybe, or surprise. I don't doubt that, he said softly. But for the record, you handled that with more grace than most people would have. Before Naomi could respond, he returned to his office. She sat back in her chair, her heart beating faster than it should. The next morning, Naomi arrived at work to find an envelope on her desk. Inside was a note in neat handwriting. Ms. Brooks, I'd like to apologize again for yesterday's incident. Chloe's behavior was unacceptable. Please know that I value professionalism and respect in this workplace, and you have both my admiration and my support. EC Naomi read it twice. Then she tucked it into her folder. She was preparing for a morning meeting when her phone buzzed. An unknown number. Hey Naomi, it's Chloe. Got your number from HR. We should have coffee. Girl to girl. I can give you some advice about working for Ethan. Naomi's thumb hovered over the delete button, but something made her pause. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the desire to understand what Ethan had seen in this woman. She texted back, "Thank you, but I'm focused on my work right now." The response came seconds later. "I'm sure you are, but seriously, let's talk. How about tomorrow afternoon? There's a cute place on 5th Street. My treat. I appreciate the offer, but I'm not interested. Don't be silly. It's just coffee." Naomi put her phone away without responding. The rest of the day passed normally. She attended meetings, typed up reports, and helped organize files for an upcoming presentation. She avoided Ethan's office as much as possible, not because she was afraid, but because she wanted to maintain clear boundaries. At 5 o'clock, she packed up her bag and headed for the elevator. "Ms. Brooks, wait." Ethan jogged up behind her. He'd loosened his tie and rolled up his sleeves. It made him look younger, less intimidating. "I wanted to thank you," he said. "For what?" "For not accepting Chloe's bribe." Naomi blinked. "I'm sorry. She texted me this afternoon. Complained that you refused to have coffee with her. She was planning to offer you money to quit. Apparently she thinks you're a threat." He said the last word with obvious disdain. Heat flooded Naomi's face. "Mr. Cole, I would never—" "I know." His voice was gentle. "That's why I'm thanking you. A lot of people would have taken the money and run, but you didn't even engage with her." The elevator dinged. The doors opened. "I came here to work, not to play games," Naomi said quietly. "I don't care about your personal life or your money or any of that. I just want to do my job well." Ethan smiled. Actually smiled. It transformed his whole face, softening the hard edges. "You're doing great, Ms. Brooks. Really great." They rode the elevator down in comfortable silence. When they reached the lobby, Ethan held the door for her. "Have a good evening," he said. "You too, Mr. Cole." She walked toward the subway station, her bag bouncing against her hip. The city was alive with evening commuters, street vendors, and the distant wail of sirens. This was her favorite time of day, when work was done and the possibilities of the evening stretched ahead. Her phone rang. Her mother. "Hey, Mama, how's my baby girl? You eating enough? That office feeding you?" Naomi smiled. "I'm fine, Mama. And yes, I'm eating." They talked for 20 minutes while Naomi walked. Her mother wanted to know everything about the job, the people, the office. Naomi left out the parts about Ethan's outburst and Chloe's visit. No need to worry her. When she finally hung up, she looked back toward the Cole Enterprises building. The lights blazed in the gathering dusk, a tower of glass and steel and ambition. Somewhere up there, Ethan Cole was probably still working. She wondered if he was lonely. Then she shook her head and kept walking. Monday arrived with rain. Naomi dashed into the building, her coat soaked despite her umbrella. She made it to her desk just as her phone buzzed. A meeting request from Ethan. Subject: marketing project collaboration. Her stomach fluttered. She'd hoped to keep her distance, to stay professional and uninvolved. But she couldn't exactly refuse a direct request from her boss. At 9 sharp, she knocked on his office door. "Come in." Ethan sat behind his massive desk, surrounded by screens and papers. He looked up when she entered, and something in his expression softened. "Ms. Brooks, thank you for coming. Please sit." She sat in one of the leather chairs across from him. "I'm reorganizing the marketing department," he explained, "and I need fresh eyes on our youth outreach campaign. You mentioned in your interview that you did social media marketing in college." "Yes, sir. For local businesses mostly. Small stuff. Small stuff that worked, according to your portfolio." He turned his screen toward her. Her work was displayed. Campaigns she'd created, metrics she'd improved, before and after comparisons. He'd looked at her portfolio, actually studied it. "I'd like you to work with me on this project. It'll mean longer hours, but it's a real opportunity to make an impact." Naomi's heart raced. "I'd be honored." "Great, we'll start today. Can you stay late?" "Of course." They worked through lunch. Ethan ordered sandwiches from a deli down the street. Nothing fancy, just good food. They spread out papers on the conference table, bouncing ideas back and forth. Naomi was surprised by how easy it was to talk to him. When they discussed work, the CEO mask dropped. He listened to her ideas. He laughed at her jokes. He treated her like an equal. "What if we partnered with local artists?" Naomi suggested. "Young creators who already have a following. They could showcase how our products fit into real life." Ethan's eyes lit up. "That's brilliant. Real people. Real stories. Not actors or models." "Exactly. Authenticity sells." "You're good at this, Ms. Brooks." She felt herself blush. "Thank you." Hours passed. The office emptied around them. The cleaning crew came and went. The city lights twinkled outside the windows. At 8:30, Naomi stretched and yawned. "I should probably head home," she said reluctantly. "Of course. I'm sorry for keeping you so late." "Don't be. This was fun." Ethan walked her to the elevator. "Same time tomorrow?" "I'll be here." As the elevator descended, Naomi couldn't stop smiling. For the first time since she'd started, she felt like she belonged, like she was making a real contribution, like she mattered. She didn't notice the janitor taking out his phone, didn't see him snap a photo of her and Ethan standing close together by the conference table, laughing at something on a laptop screen. She had no idea that photo would change everything. The gossip started Tuesday morning. Naomi heard the whispers as she walked to her desk, saw the sideways glances, felt the shift in the office atmosphere like a storm rolling in. Her computer screen had a sticky note, "Check your email." She logged in. 15 new messages, all from co-workers she barely knew. The subject lines made her stomach drop. "You and Mr. Cole?" "Saw the pic." "Get it, girl." She opened the first email. The photo was attached. It showed her and Ethan at the conference table. His hand was gesturing toward the laptop. She was leaning forward, laughing. The angle made it look intimate, cozy, like they were more than boss and intern. "Oh no," she whispered. More emails flooded in. Some were joking, some were genuine questions. A few were clearly judgmental, with snide comments about climbing the corporate ladder. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "I warned you to stay away from him. You're making a huge mistake. Chloe." Naomi's hands shook. This was bad, really bad. She needed to fix it, but how? If she denied it too strongly, people would think she was lying. If she ignored it, the gossip would grow. "Ms. Brooks." She jumped. Ethan stood beside her desk, his face dark with fury. He held a printout of the photo. "My office now." Her heart sank. This was it. She was getting fired. She followed him inside. He closed the door and threw the photo on his desk. "I just heard about this," he said, pacing. "Someone sent it to the board. They're already asking questions. Mr. Cole, I'm so sorry. This isn't your fault." He stopped pacing and looked at her. "This is mine. I should have been more careful. I should have known people would talk. What do we do? I'm going to find out who took that photo and deal with them. As for the gossip," he ran a hand through his hair, "I'll send out a company-wide email. Clarify that we were working on a project. Nothing more." Naomi nodded, but her throat felt tight. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked gently. "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're shaking." She looked down. He was right. Her hands trembled. "I worked so hard to get here," she said, her voice cracking. "And now everyone thinks that I'm using you or sleeping with you or—" "Hey," Ethan stepped closer. "Listen to me. You didn't do anything wrong. You're here because you're talented and smart, and you earned this position. Anyone who says otherwise is an idiot." His words were kind, but they couldn't erase the shame burning in her chest. "I should go," she managed. "Take the day off. Go home. I'll handle this." "No." She straightened her shoulders. "I'm not running away. I'm staying." Pride flickered in his eyes. Okay, but if anyone gives you trouble, you come straight to me. She returned to her desk with her head high. For the rest of the day, she ignored the whispers and the stares. She focused on her work. She answered emails with professionalism. She refused to let them see her break. But when she got home that night and closed the door to her tiny apartment, she finally let the tears fall. The next few days were torture. The company-wide email helped, but it didn't stop the gossip. People still talked, still speculated, still judged. And then Vivian Cole showed up. Naomi was filing documents when the elegant older woman walked into the office. She had Ethan's blue eyes and sharp cheekbones. Everything about her screamed old money and high society. She swept past Naomi's desk without a glance and knocked on Ethan's door. "Mother," Ethan's voice was surprised. "What are you doing here?" "We need to talk." The door closed, but the walls were thin. "You're making a fool of yourself," Vivian's voice carried. "A summer intern, Ethan? Really? It's not like that. Everyone's talking. My friends called me. They saw that photo. They're asking if you've lost your mind. I'm working with Ms. Brooks on a project, that's all." "Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you're repeating the same pattern. Another young woman, another emotional attachment, another disaster waiting to happen." Naomi's cheeks burned. She should leave, give them privacy, but she couldn't make herself move. "Mother, you don't know her. I don't need to know her. I know girls like her. They see a rich, lonely man, and they see an opportunity. That's not fair." "Isn't it? How much do you really know about her, where she comes from, what she wants?" Silence. "Be careful, Ethan, that's all I'm asking. Protect yourself." The door opened. Vivian walked out, her heels clicking. She paused at Naomi's desk. "You must be Ms. Brooks." Naomi stood. "Yes, ma'am." Vivian's gaze was cold, assessing. "My son speaks highly of your work. Thank you. I'm sure you understand the importance of maintaining appropriate professional boundaries." "Of course." Vivian smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Good. I'd hate for there to be any sort of misunderstandings." After she left, Naomi sank into her chair. Her hands were clenched so tight, her nails dug into her palms. Ethan appeared in his doorway. He looked defeated. "I'm sorry you heard that. It's okay." "It's not okay." He walked over. "My mother means well, but she doesn't understand. She thinks I'm using you. She's wrong." "Is she?" Naomi looked up at him. "How do you know? You barely know me. Maybe she's right. Maybe you should be careful." "Naomi, it's Ms. Brooks." She turned back to her computer, ending the conversation. That night she lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Her small apartment felt even smaller. The walls pressed in. Her dreams of building a career felt like they were crumbling. Maybe she should just quit. Save herself the pain and humiliation. Find another job somewhere else. But that would prove everyone right. It would confirm all their ugly assumptions. No, she wouldn't give them that satisfaction. She'd stay. She'd work harder than ever. She'd show them all that she was more than their gossip and their judgment, even if it killed her. Friday came with thunderstorms. Naomi walked to work in the rain, her umbrella doing little to protect her. By the time she reached the building, she was soaked. She went straight to her desk, ignoring the looks and whispers. But as the morning wore on, her anger grew. It festered inside her like a wound that wouldn't heal. She'd done everything right, worked hard, stayed professional, kept her boundaries clear, and still, people judged her. Still, they assumed the worst. At lunch, she overheard two women from accounting talking by the coffee machine. "I heard his mother visited. Told him to fire her." "I don't blame her. That girl's got an agenda. She's pretty, I'll give her that. But come on, you really think someone like Ethan Cole would fall for an intern? Maybe she's just that good." They laughed, cruel, cutting laughter. Something inside Naomi snapped. She stood up, grabbed her bag, and marched straight to Ethan's office. She didn't knock, just pushed through the door. He looked up, startled. "Ms. Brooks? Do you think I'm using you?" "What?" "No. Do you think I came here to trap you, or seduce you, or whatever else people are saying?" Ethan stood. "Naomi, where is this coming from?" "Everywhere." Her voice rose. "From your mother, from Chloe, from everyone in this building. And I need to know, do you think that?" "Of course not." "Then why do you keep defending me? Why do you keep apologizing for other people? If you really believed I was here to work, you wouldn't feel the need to protect me all the time." He moved around the desk. "I defend you because they're wrong about you." "Are they? Or am I just another woman in a long line of women who disappointed you?" The words hung in the air. Ethan's expression shuttered. "That's not fair." "None of this is fair," Naomi shot back. "I came here with dreams, plans, And now I'm the office scandal, the girl who's sleeping with the boss, the gold digger, the opportunist. I never said any of that. You didn't have to. Your mother said it for you, and you didn't argue. You just stood there and let her call me a liar and a user, and you didn't say one word. I did argue. Not hard enough. They stared at each other. Naomi's chest heaved. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she refused to cry. Not here. Not in front of him. If you don't trust me, she said quietly, just say it. Fire me. Let me go. But don't stand there and pretend we're on the same side when clearly we're not. We are on the same side. Then prove it. She stepped closer. Tell me right now that you don't wonder if I'm like the others, that you don't look at me and see Chloe or whoever else broke your heart. Tell me you see me. Ethan's jaw clenched. For a long moment, he said nothing, and that silence was all the answer Naomi needed. She turned and walked out, her heart shattering with every step. Behind her, she heard him call her name, but she didn't stop, couldn't stop. She made it to the elevator, pressed the button. The doors opened. Naomi, wait, please. Ethan caught her arm. His eyes were desperate. I do see you, he said. I see how hard you work, how smart you are, how you handle everything with dignity even when people are cruel. I see you. And yes, it scares me, because every time I start to trust someone, they hurt me. So forgive me if I'm cautious. Forgive me if I struggle to believe that someone like you could actually care about someone like me without wanting something in return. Rain lashed against the windows. Thunder rumbled. I don't want your money, Naomi said, her voice breaking. I never did. But if you can't trust that, if you can't believe it, then this will never work. What do you mean, this? She pulled her arm free. Whatever this is between us, whatever it's becoming, it can't survive without trust. The elevator doors started to close. She stepped inside. I need time to think, she said. And so do you. The doors shut, cutting off his reply. As the elevator descended, Naomi leaned against the wall and finally let herself cry, big gulping sobs that shook her whole body. She'd tried so hard to be strong, to prove herself, to rise above the gossip and the judgment, but maybe some battles couldn't be won. Maybe some walls were too high to climb. When she reached the lobby, she walked out into the storm. The rain soaked her instantly, mixing with her tears. She didn't care. Let the city see her cry. Let the world know she was hurting. At least it was honest. At least it was real. Behind her, high in his tower of glass and steel, Ethan Cole stood at the window and watched her disappear into the rain, his fist pressed against the glass, his throat tight, his heart breaking, because for the first time in his life, he'd met someone who saw past his money and his name and his power, someone who challenged him, someone who made him feel alive, and he'd just let her walk away. Saturday morning came slowly. Naomi woke up in her small apartment with swollen eyes and an aching head. Rain still pattered against the window. She pulled the blanket over her face and wished she could stay in bed forever. Her phone buzzed. 23 missed calls, 15 texts, most from numbers she didn't recognize, a few from Jasmine. Girl, what happened? Call me. Are you okay? Naomi, answer your phone. She typed back, I'm fine. Just need some space. The lie felt heavy on her fingers. She spent the weekend in her apartment, ordering cheap takeout and watching old movies. She ignored the world outside, ignored the memories of Ethan's face when she walked away, ignored the voice in her head that kept asking if she'd made a mistake. Sunday night, she finally called Jasmine. About time, Jasmine said. I was ready to break down your door. Sorry, I just needed to think. Think about what? That fine man you work for? Despite everything, Naomi smiled. It's complicated. It's always complicated with men, but the real question is, do you like him? Naomi closed her eyes. I don't know, maybe, but it doesn't matter. His world and my world, they don't mix. That's fear talking. No, that's reality talking. You didn't see the way his mother looked at me, like I was dirt on her shoe, and everyone at work thinks I'm using him. I can't live like that, Jazz. I can't spend every day defending myself. So what are you gonna do? Go back tomorrow. Keep my head down, do my job, and stay as far away from Ethan Cole as possible. Good luck with that. After they hung up, Naomi stood at her window and looked out at the city. Lights twinkled in the darkness. Somewhere out there, people were living their lives, falling in love, taking chances, being brave. She wished she felt brave. Monday morning arrived with clear skies. Naomi dressed carefully in her most professional outfit, a navy blue dress and modest heels. She pulled her hair back tight, put on minimal makeup. She wanted to look like someone who had her life together, even if inside she was falling apart. The subway ride felt longer than usual. Her stomach twisted with nerves. What would she say when she saw Ethan? How would she act? She decided on polite distance, professional courtesy, nothing more. When she walked into the office, everything looked normal. People worked at their desks. Phones rang. The coffee machine hummed. But when she passed by, conversations stopped. Eyes followed her. She kept her chin up and walked to her desk. A coffee cup sat on her keyboard, still warm, from the fancy place 2 blocks away. Her name was written on the side in neat handwriting, and underneath, "I'm sorry." Naomi picked it up. Her favorite order, vanilla latte with an extra shot. She'd only mentioned it once, weeks ago, in passing. He'd remembered. She looked toward Ethan's office. The door was closed, but she could see his silhouette through the frosted glass. He was on the phone, pacing. For a long moment she just held the coffee, felt its warmth seep into her cold hands. Something in her chest loosened, just a little. Maybe he did see her after all. She sat down and took a sip. It was perfect. An hour later, Ethan emerged from his office. He stopped by her desk, hands in his pockets. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept much either. "Good morning, Miss Brooks." "Good morning, Mr. Cole. Thank you for coming back. This is my job." He nodded slowly. "Right. Your job." He paused. "I've been thinking about what you said, about trust. You were right. I need to work on that." Naomi looked up at him. "I shouldn't have exploded like that. It was unprofessional. It was honest." A small smile tugged at his lips. "I appreciate honest." They stood there for a moment, the tension from Friday softening into something gentler, something that felt like a truce. "The coffee was nice," Naomi said quietly. "Thank you." "You're welcome." He turned to go, then stopped. "Ms. Brooks, for what it's worth, I do trust you. I'm just learning how." After he left, Naomi touched her chest. Her heart was doing that fluttery thing again. "Don't," she told herself. "Don't go there. It only leads to pain." But hearts rarely listen to reason. The week passed in a careful dance. Ethan and Naomi worked together on the marketing project, but they kept things professional. No late nights alone, no personal conversations, just work. But small moments kept sneaking through. When Naomi couldn't reach a file on the top shelf, Ethan appeared behind her and grabbed it without a word. When Ethan's coffee went cold during a long meeting, Naomi brought him a fresh cup. When they both reached for the same pen, their fingers brushed, and they pulled back like they'd been burned. The office gossip died down. People moved on to other scandals, but Naomi could still feel eyes on her sometimes, still heard the occasional whisper. She handled it, kept working, kept proving herself. Friday afternoon she was packing up when someone knocked on the office door. A man stood there, tall, dark-skinned, wearing an expensive leather jacket and a cocky smile. Naomi's blood went cold. "Hello, Naomi." "Marcus." Her voice came out flat. "What are you doing here?" Marcus Green, her ex-boyfriend, the man she'd dated for 2 years in college before finally seeing through his charm to the manipulation underneath. "Can't I visit my girl?" He walked in like he owned the place. "I'm not your girl, haven't been for 3 years. Details." He looked around the office, whistling. "Nice setup. You really landed on your feet, didn't you? I earned this position." "I'm sure you did." His tone suggested otherwise. "Working for Ethan Cole. The Ethan Cole. Must be nice. What do you want, Marcus?" He moved closer. Too close. "I want to talk. Maybe grab dinner. Catch up." "I'm not interested." "Come on, Naomi." "Don't be like that. We had something good." "We had something toxic. There's a difference." His smile faltered. "That's harsh." "That's honest." She tried to step around him, but he blocked her path. "You think you're better than me now, because you work in some fancy office. I think I'm better off without you. That's different." "Is it?" His eyes hardened. "How long do you think this'll last? A girl like you in a place like this? You're a novelty, Naomi. Something different for rich white boys to play with. When he gets bored, you'll be out on the street." The words hit like a slap. "Get out," she said quietly. "I'm just being real. Get out. Now." "Fine. But don't come crying to me when it all falls apart. When he realizes you're not worth the trouble." Marcus left, his footsteps echoing down the hallway. Naomi stood frozen. Her hands shook. Her throat felt tight. All the doubts she'd been pushing down came rushing back. "You're a novelty. Something different to play with." No. She wouldn't believe that. She couldn't believe that. But the poison was already spreading through her thoughts. She grabbed her bag and headed for the elevator. She just needed to get home, to breathe, to think. The elevator doors opened on the ground floor. She stepped out and nearly collided with Ethan. "Whoa!" He steadied her. "You okay?" "Fine, just tired." But he was looking past her, toward the revolving doors. His expression darkened. "Who was that man?" Naomi followed his gaze. Marcus stood outside, lighting a cigarette. "Nobody. He came from our floor. Was he bothering you?" "It's handled." "Naomi, I said it's handled." She pulled away from him. "I can take care of myself." She walked out before he could respond. Marcus was still there, leaning against the building. "Hey, is that him?" he called out. "Your boss man. Leave me alone, Marcus. He's watching us. Looks jealous." Marcus grinned. "Maybe I should go introduce myself." "Don't you dare." But Marcus was already walking back toward the entrance. Naomi caught his arm. "Please, just go. Don't make this worse." Something in her voice must have gotten through because Marcus stopped. "Fine, but remember what I said. This won't last." He walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Naomi turned back to the building. Ethan still stood inside, watching through the glass. Their eyes met. Even from a distance she could see the questions on his face, the concern, and underneath it all, suspicion. She broke eye contact first and hurried toward the subway. That night, Naomi couldn't sleep. Marcus's words played on repeat. A novelty, something different to play with. Was that what she was to Ethan? A break from his usual type? A way to prove he wasn't shallow? She hated that the thoughts even crossed her mind. Hated that Marcus could still get under her skin after all these years. Her phone buzzed at midnight. A text from Ethan. "Are you okay?" That man today seemed aggressive. She stared at the message. Part of her wanted to ignore it, to maintain distance. But another part, the honest part, wanted to talk to him. "I'm fine. It was my ex. He's harmless." The reply came quickly. "He didn't look harmless. If he bothers you again, let me know. I can handle him. I know you can. But you don't have to handle everything alone." Naomi's chest tightened. When was the last time someone had said something like that to her? When had anyone offered to share her burdens instead of adding to them? "Thank you. That means a lot. Get some rest, Naomi. See you Monday." She noticed he'd used her first name, not Ms. Brooks, just Naomi. She fell asleep with her phone in her hand. Monday came with a surprise. Naomi arrived at work to find Ethan waiting by her desk. "Good morning," he said. "Do you have plans tonight?" No." "Good. I'd like to show you something, if you're willing." "Show me what?" "It's a surprise, but I promise it's nothing weird or inappropriate. Just something I think you'd appreciate." Naomi hesitated. This felt like crossing a line, felt dangerous. But his eyes were so hopeful, so genuine. "Okay," she heard herself say. His smile was brilliant. "Great. We'll leave at 6. The day dragged by. Naomi couldn't focus. She kept wondering what Ethan had planned, kept telling herself this was a mistake. At 6, he met her in the lobby. "Ready?" "As I'll ever be." They took his car, a sleek black sedan that probably cost more than her yearly salary. The driver was silent and professional. "Where are we going?" Naomi asked. "You'll see." They drove through the city, then out toward the quieter neighborhoods. Eventually, they pulled up to a modest apartment building. Nothing fancy, just regular. Ethan led her inside and up 3 flights of stairs. He stopped at a door marked 3C. "This was my grandmother's apartment," he said quietly. "She passed away 2 years ago, but I've kept it exactly as she left it. Sometimes I come here when I need to remember who I really am." He unlocked the door. The apartment was small but cozy. Floral wallpaper, worn furniture, books everywhere, photos on every surface. "She raised me," Ethan explained, walking in. "My parents were busy building the company, so she took care of me, taught me to cook, to read, to treat people with kindness." He picked up a photo. A young boy with messy hair grinning next to an elderly black woman. "She always said, 'Money doesn't make you rich, baby. Love does.'" His voice cracked slightly. "I forgot that for a while. Got caught up in the wealth and the status and the expectations. But lately I've been remembering." Naomi looked around the room, at the worn Bible on the coffee table, the handmade quilts, the simple life preserved in this space. "Why did you bring me here?" she asked softly. Ethan turned to face her. "Because you accused me of not seeing you, but I do, Naomi. I see someone who reminds me of her, someone real, someone who values the right things. And I wanted you to see this part of me, the part that's not the CEO or the billionaire or whatever else people think I am." He moved closer. "I'm just Ethan, a guy who's tired of pretending, a guy who wants something real." Naomi's heart pounded. "Ethan, I know this is complicated. I know there are 100 reasons why we shouldn't even be having this conversation, but I can't stop thinking about you, can't stop wanting to know everything about you, and I'm tired of fighting it. Your mother. My mother is scared. Scared I'll get hurt again, but that's my risk to take. The people at work don't matter. Not really. The only thing that matters is what's happening right here, right now, between us. He took her hand. His thumb brushed across her knuckles. Tell me you feel it too. Tell me I'm not crazy. Naomi looked into his blue eyes and saw vulnerability there. Real, raw vulnerability. You're not crazy, she whispered. Then stop running from me. Please, give me a chance. Give us a chance. She should say no, should protect herself, should be smart. But her heart was screaming yes. Okay, she breathed. Okay. Ethan's smile was like sunrise. He pulled her closer, slowly, giving her time to pull away. But she didn't. When his lips met hers, the world fell away. There was no office, no gossip, no judgment, just the two of them in this small apartment full of memories and hope. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, then deeper, more certain. When they finally pulled apart, Naomi was breathless. Wow, she managed. Yeah. Ethan rested his forehead against hers. Wow. They stood like that for a long moment, just breathing together. Then Naomi's stomach growled loudly. They both laughed. Come on, Ethan said. Let me make you dinner. My grandmother's recipe, nothing fancy, just good food. They cooked together in the tiny kitchen. Ethan made chicken and rice and vegetables, moving around the space like he'd done it 1,000 times. Naomi helped chop and stir, and they talked about everything and nothing. It was perfect, simple, real. They ate at the small table, sharing stories about their childhoods. Naomi told him about growing up with her sisters, about her mother's strength, about the neighborhood that shaped her. Ethan talked about his grandmother's wisdom, his parents' distance, his lonely childhood in a big empty house. I always wanted this, he said, gesturing around. This warmth, this home. You have it now. Do I? You're here, aren't you? Keeping her memory alive. That's home. He reached across the table and took her hand. Thank you. For what? For seeing me. They cleaned up together, washing dishes side by side. When they finished, Ethan drove her home. Outside her apartment building, he walked her to the door. I had a really good time tonight, Naomi said. Me too. He leaned down and kissed her again, softer this time, sweeter. When he pulled back, his eyes were serious. I know this won't be easy, but I want to try. If you do, I do. Then we'll figure it out, together. Naomi went inside with a smile on her face and hope in her heart. For the first time in weeks, everything felt right. But happiness never lasts long. The next day, Naomi arrived at work to find Vivian Cole sitting at her desk. Mrs. Cole, Naomi's stomach dropped. Can I help you? Sit down, Ms. Brooks. We need to talk. Naomi sat, her hands clasped tight in her lap. Vivian studied her with cold eyes. My son thinks I don't see what's happening, but I'm not blind. You've gotten your hooks into him. That's not... Let me finish. Vivian's voice was sharp. I've seen this before. Young women with ambition. They see a rich, lonely man and they see opportunity. They play the part of the sweet, innocent girl. They make him feel special. And then, when he's completely hooked, they take everything. I'm not like that. That's what they all say. Vivian leaned forward. But here's what I know. You're a smart girl, smart enough to understand that Ethan's world and your world are very different. Smart enough to see that this relationship, or whatever you want to call it, will destroy his reputation, his standing in society, his business relationships. Each word was a knife. I'm not asking you to quit your job, Vivian continued, but I am asking you to step back. Stop whatever game you're playing. If you truly care about him, you'll let him go before you ruin everything he's built. Naomi's throat felt tight. And if I don't, then I'll make your life very difficult. I have connections everywhere in this city. One word from me and you'll never work anywhere again, not just here, anywhere. The threat hung in the air. Think about it, Ms. Brooks. Is one man really worth destroying your entire future? Vivian stood and smoothed her designer dress. I'll give you 24 hours to make the right decision. She walked away, leaving Naomi sitting alone at her desk, her whole body shaking. Naomi didn't tell Ethan about his mother's visit. She tried to act normal, tried to smile and work and pretend everything was fine, but inside she was crumbling. That night she lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Vivian's words echoed in her mind. Is one man really worth destroying your entire future? What kind of future did she have if she gave in to threats, if she let fear win? But what kind of future did she have if Vivian followed through? If she really was blacklisted from every job in the city? Her phone buzzed. "Can't stop thinking about you," Ethan's text said. "Sweet dreams." Tears slid down her cheeks. The next morning Chloe showed up. She strutted into the office like a queen, her heels clicking, her smile predatory. "Naomi," she said, sitting on the edge of the desk uninvited. "We should talk. Girl to girl. I'm busy. This won't take long." Chloe held up her hand. A diamond ring glittered on her finger. "Recognize this?" Naomi's stomach dropped. "Ethan gave it to me 2 years ago. Promised we'd get married, build a life together, but then we had a little fight and he got scared, ran away, called it quits." She admired the ring, turning it so it caught the light. "But here's the thing about men like Ethan. They always come back to what they know, and right now you're just the rebound, the distraction. Something different to make him feel alive again. You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I?" Chloe leaned closer. "He told me he loves me. Last week. Said he made a mistake letting me go." The words felt like poison. "You're lying." "Am I? Ask him yourself. Ask him if we had lunch together. Ask him if we talked about getting back together." Chloe stood up, smoothing her perfect hair. "I'm not trying to be mean, honey. I'm trying to save you from heartbreak. Because when Ethan realizes you're not enough, and he will, it's going to hurt. Bad." She walked away, her laughter trailing behind her. Naomi sat frozen. Ethan had lunch with Chloe, talked about getting back together. No, it couldn't be true. He wouldn't do that, would he? Doubt crept in like fog, cold and suffocating. When Ethan came out of his office an hour later, Naomi stopped him. "Did you have lunch with Chloe last week?" He blinked, surprised. "What? No. Well, she showed up at the restaurant where I was eating, but did you talk to her?" "She sat down uninvited. I told her to leave." "Did you tell her you made a mistake? That you loved her?" "No, Naomi, where is this coming from?" She wanted to believe him, wanted it so badly. But Vivian's threats and Chloe's ring and Marcus's cruel words all swirled together in her mind. "I can't do this," she whispered. "Can't do what?" "This. Us. Whatever we're trying to build. It's too much, too complicated, too what? Too real, too impossible." She stepped back. "You live in a different world, Ethan. A world where ex-girlfriends have diamond rings and mothers make threats, and every relationship is a transaction. That's not my world, and I don't want it to be." "Naomi, please. I came here to work, to build a career, to prove myself. But all I've done is become the girl everyone gossips about, the girl who's sleeping with the boss, the girl who doesn't belong." "You do belong." "No." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I don't. And I think we both know it." She grabbed her bag from her desk. "I'll finish out the week, but after that I'm done. I'll find another position somewhere else. Don't do this. Don't run." "I'm not running. I'm choosing myself. For once I'm putting my own dignity and peace ahead of whatever this is." She walked toward the elevator, her vision blurred with tears. "I love you." Ethan's words stopped her cold. She turned. He stood in the middle of the office, his heart in his eyes. "I love you, Naomi. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated. But it's true, and I'm not giving up on us." Her heart broke into 1,000 pieces. "Sometimes love isn't enough," she whispered. The elevator doors opened. She stepped inside. The last thing she saw was Ethan's devastated face before the doors closed between them. The office felt empty. Ethan stood by the window in his office, looking down at the street below. 3 days had passed since Naomi walked out. 3 days that felt like 3 years. Her desk sat vacant, her computer screen dark. The coffee mug he'd given her still sat there unwashed, a ring of dried coffee at the bottom. He couldn't bring himself to move it. "Sir?" His assistant poked her head in. "The board meeting starts in 10 minutes. Cancel it." "But sir," "I said cancel it." His voice came out harsher than intended. "Reschedule for next week." The assistant left quickly. Ethan sank into his chair and put his head in his hands. He hadn't slept in days, couldn't eat, couldn't focus. Everything reminded him of her, the conference table where they'd worked late together, laughing at inside jokes, the coffee maker she'd used every morning, the spot by the elevator where she'd confronted him about trust. He'd replayed their last conversation 100 times. Her tears, her words. Sometimes love isn't enough, but it had to be enough. It was all he had. His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. "Dinner tonight. We need to talk." He ignored it. Another buzz. "Chloe. I heard she quit. I'm sorry, darling. Call me when you're ready to talk." He blocked the number. The sun moved across the sky. Afternoon faded into evening. Ethan didn't move, just sat in his big leather chair in his expensive office and felt completely, utterly alone. Naomi's apartment was quiet. She sat on her small couch, laptop open, scrolling through job listings. Her eyes burned from crying, but no more tears came. She was all dried up. 3 interviews lined up for next week. All good positions. All far away from coal enterprises, starting over. Again. Her phone rang. Jasmine. She'd been calling every few hours. "I'm fine," Naomi said before Jasmine could ask. "You're not fine. You sound terrible." "I'm surviving." "That's not the same as living." Jasmine sighed. "You really love him, don't you?" Naomi's throat tightened. "Doesn't matter." "Of course it matters. Love always matters. Not when everyone's against you. Not when staying together means destroying both your lives. That's fear talking. No, that's reality talking. His mother threatened me, Jazz. Said she'd make sure I never worked again. And his ex showed up with her engagement ring, telling me I'm just a rebound. And everyone at that office looks at me like I'm some kind of gold digger who trapped their precious CEO. Her voice broke. "I can't fight all of that. I'm tired of fighting." "So you're just giving up?" "I'm choosing peace." "Peace?" Jasmine's tone was skeptical. "Is that what you call crying yourself to sleep every night?" Naomi didn't answer. "Look," Jasmine continued, softer now, "I get it. You're scared, but running away won't make the pain stop. It'll just follow you. Maybe, but at least I'll have my dignity." After they hung up, Naomi closed her laptop. She couldn't focus anyway. Everything blurred together. She looked around her apartment. Small, simple, hers. This was enough. This had to be enough. She didn't need a man, even one who said he loved her. She didn't need his money or his world or any of it. She just needed to survive. But surviving felt an awful lot like dying inside. A knock on the door startled her. Naomi checked the peephole and groaned. "Marcus." "Go away," she called through the door. "Come on, Naomi, just talk to me. I have nothing to say to you. I heard about what happened. With your boss. I'm sorry." She yanked open the door. "No, you're not. You're happy. You wanted this." Marcus held up his hands. "Okay, maybe a little, but I also came to check on you. Make sure you're okay." "I'm fine." "You don't look fine." He leaned against the doorframe. "You look like you've been crying for days." "What do you want, Marcus?" "I want to take you to dinner, cheer you up, remind you that there are other men out there, men who actually understand you, men from your world." "My world?" Naomi laughed bitterly. "You mean poor, black, not good enough for rich white boys?" "That's not what I meant." "Yes, it is. That's exactly what you meant. Because that's how you see me. That's how you've always seen me." She stepped back to close the door, but Marcus blocked it with his foot. "Wait, just wait. Look, I know I messed up back then. I know I didn't treat you right, but I've changed. I've grown up, and I still care about you." "No, you don't. You care about being right, about saying I told you so, about proving that I should have stayed with you instead of reaching for something better. That's not—" "Get your foot out of my door, Marcus. Now." Something in her voice, cold and final, made him step back. "You're making a mistake," he said. "The only mistake I made was wasting 2 years on you. I won't make that mistake again." She slammed the door. Inside, she leaned against it and took a shaky breath. Her whole body trembled with anger and hurt and exhaustion. But underneath it all was something else, something stronger. "I won't be defined by anyone else's doubts," she said aloud. "Not Marcus's, not Vivian's, not even my own." The words felt like armor. She'd survive this, somehow. And when she came out the other side, she'd be stronger, even if she'd be alone. Vivian Cole sat in her living room sipping tea. She should have felt victorious. The girl was gone. Ethan was safe. Everything was back to normal. So why did she feel so terrible? The doorbell rang. Her housekeeper answered it. "Mrs. Cole, Ethan is here to see you." Vivian set down her tea. "Send him in." Ethan walked into the room. He looked awful. Dark circles under his eyes, rumpled clothes, hair uncombed. "Darling," Vivian stood. "You look like my heart's been ripped out?" His voice was flat. "Because that's how I feel. Sit down. Let me make you something to eat. I'm not hungry." "Ethan, why did you do it?" He turned to face her. "Why did you threaten her?" Vivian's breath caught. "I don't know what you're—" "Don't lie to me, Mother. Naomi told me everything before she left. How you cornered her at her desk. How you threatened to destroy her career. How you gave her 24 hours to make the right decision." Guilt twisted in Vivian's chest. "I was protecting you. From what? From being happy. From being used. From making the same mistakes. She wasn't using me. Ethan's voice rose. She never wanted my money. She barely even wanted my attention. I had to work to get her to notice me, had to prove myself worthy of her time. Do you understand how rare that is? How precious? Vivian sank back into her chair. I've dated so many women, Ethan continued, his voice breaking. Beautiful women, successful women, women who said all the right things, but they all wanted something. The lifestyle, the status, the access, all of them, except her. He moved to the window. Naomi looked at me and saw past all of this. He gestured at the expensive room. She saw me, just me, the guy who's scared of being alone, the guy who misses his grandmother, the guy who wants something real. Tears ran down his face. And I finally found that, found her, and you took it away. Vivian's own eyes filled with tears. I was wrong. What? I was wrong. She stood and walked to him. I see that now. I let my fear control me, let my past experiences cloud my judgment, and I hurt you. I hurt both of you. She touched his arm gently. Tell me about her. Really tell me. Not the surface things, the real things. So Ethan did. He told her about Naomi's intelligence and work ethic, her kindness to everyone, even people who were cruel to her, her pride and dignity in the face of constant judgment, her strength to walk away when she thought it was the right thing, even though it broke her heart. She reminds me of Grandma, he said quietly. That same quiet strength, that same genuine warmth, that same ability to see the good in people. Vivian's heart clenched. Her mother-in-law had been her rock, her guide, the woman who taught her that love mattered more than anything else. She'd forgotten that lesson. You love her, Vivian said. Not a question, a fact. More than anything. Then what are you doing here? Ethan looked at her. What? If you love her, go get her. Don't waste time talking to me. Go tell her how you feel. Fight for her. Show her that your love is stronger than all the obstacles. She said it was too complicated. Then make it simple. Vivian cupped his face. Love is always simple, darling. It's fear that makes it complicated. And if you let fear win, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. She kissed his forehead. Go. Now. Before it's too late. Naomi was making tea when someone knocked on her door. Marcus, I swear to God. She yanked it open. Ethan stood there. Just Ethan. No suit. No fancy car visible behind him. Just a man in jeans and a t-shirt, looking at her like she was his whole world. What are you doing here? She whispered. I couldn't stay away. Ethan. No. Let me talk. Please. He took a breath. I know you think this is impossible. I know there are a million reasons why we shouldn't be together. My mother, Chloe, the gossip, all of it. He stepped closer. But here's what I know. I know that I wake up thinking about you. I know that every good thing that happens, I want to tell you first. I know that your smile makes everything better, and your laugh is my favorite sound in the world. Tears filled Naomi's eyes. I know that I don't care about my reputation or my standing in society or any of that, if it means losing you. Because none of it matters. Not the money, not the company, not any of it. He took her hands. You're what matters. You're all that matters. And I don't care if I lose everything else as long as I don't lose you. Your mother sent me here, told me to fight for you, told me she was wrong about you, about us. She did. She did. He smiled through his own tears. And Chloe? I told her to lose my number, forever. I don't care about the past. I care about the future, our future. Naomi's walls crumbled. All the defenses she'd built, all the reasons she'd given herself to stay away, they all fell apart. I'm scared, she admitted. Me too. What if it doesn't work? What if... Then we'll deal with it. Together. But Naomi, we have to try. We owe ourselves that much. She looked into his blue eyes and saw everything she'd ever wanted. Love, partnership, understanding, home. I love you, she whispered. His face transformed. Say it again. I love you, Ethan Cole. I tried not to. Tried to protect myself. But I do. I love you so much it terrifies me. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her, deep and passionate and full of promise. When they broke apart, both were crying and laughing at the same time. Come inside, Naomi said. My tea's getting cold. They sat on her small couch, hands intertwined, just breathing together. I'm still scared, Naomi admitted. That's okay. I'll be scared with you. Your world and my world are the same world now, our world, and we'll build it together. She rested her head on his shoulder. What happens now? Now? We take it one day at a time. We face whatever comes. Together, together, she repeated. The word felt like a promise. They sat like that for hours, talking, planning, dreaming. The fear was still there, but it was smaller now, manageable, because they weren't alone anymore. They had each other. 2 weeks later, Ethan invited Naomi to dinner. "Dinner where?" she asked. "My mother's house." Naomi's stomach dropped. "Ethan, I know it's scary, but she wants to apologize, to get to know you properly, and I want my family to see what I see, how amazing you are. What if she still doesn't approve? Then that's her problem, not ours. But I think she will. I think she'll love you. How could she not?" So Naomi agreed. She spent 3 hours getting ready, changed outfits 5 times, practiced conversation starters in the mirror. Jasmine came over to help. "You look beautiful," Jasmine said, fixing Naomi's hair. "And nervous. Stop being nervous." "Easy for you to say. She's just a person, Naomi. A person who loves her son. Show her that you love him too. That's all that matters." Ethan picked her up at 7. His eyes went wide when he saw her. "You're stunning." Naomi wore a simple blue dress, elegant but not too fancy, professional but warm. "You sure about this?" she asked. "Completely." The drive to his mother's house felt too short. Before Naomi knew it, they were pulling up to a massive estate. Gates, gardens. More wealth than she'd seen in her entire life. "Deep breaths," Ethan said, squeezing her hand. They walked to the door together. Vivian answered it herself. She wore a simple sweater and slacks, not the designer clothes Naomi expected. "Ethan, Ms. Brooks." She smiled, and it looked genuine. "Please, come in." The house was beautiful but warm. Family photos everywhere. Comfortable furniture. It felt lived in, loved. "Can I take your coat?" Vivian asked Naomi. "Thank you, Mrs. Cole." "Please call me Vivian." They moved to the dining room. The table was set simply. No fancy china, just regular dishes and home-cooked food. "I made pot roast," Vivian said. "I hope you like it. It smells wonderful." They sat down. The first few minutes were awkward. Careful conversation, polite smiles. Then Vivian set down her fork and looked at Naomi. "I owe you an apology." "Mrs. Cole." "Vivian. And please, let me finish." She took a breath. "I judged you without knowing you. I let fear and past experiences cloud my judgment, and I said terrible things, threatened you, tried to drive you away from my son." Her eyes filled with tears. "I was wrong, completely wrong, and I'm so sorry." Naomi felt her own tears rising. "I understand why you were scared. You were protecting your son, but I was hurting him instead. And you who'd done nothing but work hard and treat him with kindness and honesty." Vivian reached across the table. "Can you forgive me?" Naomi took her hand. "Yes, of course. I'd like to get to know you, the real you, if you'll let me." "I'd like that too." The tension broke. The rest of dinner was lighter, easier. They talked about Naomi's family, her dreams, her childhood. Vivian shared stories about Ethan as a boy, about his grandmother, and the lessons she'd taught. "She would have loved you," Vivian said. She always said Ethan needed someone who could see past all the noise, someone real. After dinner, Vivian pulled out photo albums. Pictures of Ethan at every age, baby pictures, school photos, awkward teenage years. "Mom," Ethan groaned, "not the braces pictures." "Especially the braces pictures," Vivian laughed. Naomi giggled at a photo of 12-year-old Ethan with huge glasses and metal braces holding a science fair trophy. "You were adorable. I was a nerd. A cute nerd." As the evening wound down, Vivian walked them to the door. "Thank you for coming," she said to Naomi, "and for giving me another chance. Thank you for having me." Vivian hugged her, a real hug, warm and genuine. "Take care of my boy," she whispered. "He's got a good heart, sometimes too good." "I will, I promise." In the car, Ethan was grinning ear to ear. "That went well. Better than well. Your mother's amazing. She liked you. I could tell." "How?" "She called you by your first name. And she hugged you. She only hugs people she really cares about." Naomi's heart felt full. "I was so scared." "I know, but you were brave anyway. That's what I love about you." He drove her home, walking her to her door. "Coffee tomorrow morning?" he asked. "Before work?" "I'd love that." He kissed her softly. "Sweet dreams, Naomi. Sweet dreams." She went inside and leaned against the door, smiling so hard her cheeks hurt. Her phone buzzed. A text from Vivian. "Thank you for making my son happy, and for being patient with a foolish old woman. I look forward to getting to know you better." Vivian Naomi saved the message. Then she called her mother to tell her everything. About Ethan, about his mother, about how, maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. "Baby girl," her mother said, joy in her voice. I'm so proud of you. You stayed true to yourself, and look what happened. Love found you. It did, Mama. It really did. That night, Naomi fell asleep with a smile on her face and hope in her heart. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would still be challenges, still be people who judged, still be moments of doubt, but she wasn't alone anymore. She had Ethan. She had Vivian's blessing. She had her own strength and dignity. And sometimes that was all you needed. Love, trust, courage. The rest would figure itself out. Monday morning came with sunshine. Naomi walked into Cole Enterprises with her head held high. She'd missed this place more than she wanted to admit. Missed the work, the challenge, the feeling of building something. And yes, she'd missed being near Ethan during the day. Her desk was exactly as she'd left it. Someone had cleaned the coffee mug and left fresh flowers in a small vase. A note sat beside them. Welcome back. We missed you. The team Naomi's throat tightened. She'd expected coldness, judgment. Instead, she got kindness. Naomi, she turned. Sarah from accounting hurried over, smiling wide. We're so glad you're back. The office wasn't the same without you. Really? Really? Sarah lowered her voice. And for what it's worth, most of us think you and Mr. Cole are great together. Don't let the haters get to you. Other co-workers stopped by throughout the morning. Some offered congratulations. Some shared their own stories of workplace romance. A few admitted they'd been wrong to gossip. The tide had turned. By lunch, Naomi felt lighter than she had in weeks. She was eating a sandwich at her desk when Ethan appeared. Got a minute? For my boss? Always. He smiled at the teasing tone. Walk with me. They took the elevator to the rooftop terrace, a space reserved for executives but empty at this hour. The city spread out below them, alive with noise and movement. I've been thinking, Ethan said. Dangerous. He laughed. About us. About how we move forward. Naomi's stomach fluttered. Okay. I don't want to hide this. Hide us. I want everyone to know that I'm with you, that I choose you, every single day. Ethan, that's sweet, but nothing. You're not my dirty secret. You're my partner, and I want the world to know it. He took her hands. I'm going to make an announcement at the board meeting on Friday. Tell them about us officially. If anyone has a problem with it, they can take it up with me. What if they force you to choose between me and the company? Then I choose you every time without hesitation. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. You'd really do that? In a heartbeat. He pulled her close. This company, this money, this life, none of it means anything without you. You're my home, Naomi. You're everything. She kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. I love you, she whispered against his lips. I love you too. They stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, the city bustling below them. For the first time, Naomi felt completely at peace. No more hiding, no more fear, just love, simple and true. But peace never lasted long. Wednesday afternoon, Chloe showed up. She swept into the office like a storm, all fury and desperation. Her perfect hair was slightly mussed. Her makeup couldn't quite hide the redness around her eyes. Where is he? She demanded. Naomi stood. Mister, Cole is in a meeting. I don't care. Chloe pushed past her and burst into Ethan's office. Naomi rushed after her. Ethan was on a video call. He looked up, startled, then angry. I'll call you back, he said to the screen, then turned to Chloe. What are you doing here? We need to talk now. No, we don't. We've said everything that needs to be said. Have we? Chloe's voice broke. Because I'm not giving up on us, Ethan. We were good together. We can be good again. Chloe, I made mistakes, I know that. I was selfish and materialistic and I took you for granted, but I've changed. I've grown. And I love you. Truly love you. She moved closer, reaching for him. Please, give me another chance. Send her away, and let's try again. Naomi felt like she'd been slapped. Her, like she was nothing, nobody. Ethan gently removed Chloe's hands. I'm sorry you're hurting, but I don't love you. Not anymore. Maybe I never really did. Don't say that. It's the truth. What we had was comfortable, easy, but it wasn't real. It wasn't... He looked at Naomi. It wasn't this. Chloe followed his gaze, her face twisted with anger and pain. Her? You're choosing her over me. What does she have that I don't? Integrity, Ethan said simply. Honesty, kindness. She sees me, Chloe. Really sees me. Not my bank account or my last name or what I can do for her. Just me. That's a fantasy. People don't love like that. Not in the real world. Maybe not in your world. But in mine. In ours. They do. Chloe's face crumpled. For a moment, Naomi almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "You're making a mistake," Chloe whispered. "No, I'm correcting one." Ethan moved to stand beside Naomi. He took her hand, right there in front of Chloe. "This is the woman I love, the woman I choose, and nothing you say or do will change that." Chloe stared at their joined hands. Tears ran down her perfect face, leaving tracks through her makeup. "I could have made you happy," she said. "Maybe, but she makes me better." The words hung in the air. Finally, Chloe straightened, wiped her eyes, pulled herself together with visible effort. "I hope she's worth it," she said coldly. "She is. And more." Chloe walked out, her heels clicking. She didn't look back. When she was gone, Naomi let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked. "I should be asking you that." "I'm fine. Better than fine." He cupped her face. "That was the last piece of my past. Now there's just our future. She really loved you, you know. Maybe, in her own way. But love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. And she never chose me. Not really. She chose the lifestyle, the status, the image." He kissed her forehead. "You chose me when I had nothing to offer but honesty and vulnerability. That's real love, that's the only kind I want." Friday arrived with nervous energy. The board meeting started at 2. All morning, Naomi tried to focus on work, but her mind kept drifting. What would Ethan say? How would the board react? At 1:30, Ethan stopped by her desk. "Wish me luck." "You don't need luck. You've got truth on your side." He smiled. "Come with me. I want you there." "Ethan, I'm just an intern." "You're not just anything. You're my partner, and this affects both of us. Please." So Naomi found herself walking into the boardroom. 12 executives sat around the massive table. They looked up in surprise when she entered. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ethan began, standing at the head of the table. "Thank you for coming. I called this meeting because I have an announcement to make." He gestured for Naomi to stand beside him. She did, her heart pounding. "As you know, there's been speculation about my relationship with Ms. Brooks. Gossip, rumors, judgment." His voice was steady, strong. "I'm here today to set the record straight." He took Naomi's hand. "Naomi Brooks is the woman I love. We are in a relationship, a serious, committed relationship, and I wanted you to hear it from me directly." Murmurs rippled through the room. "I know some of you may have concerns about propriety, about company policy, about how this looks." Ethan's jaw set. "But here's what I know. Ms. Brooks earned her position through merit. She works harder than anyone in this building. She's talented, intelligent, and brings fresh perspectives to every project she touches." He looked at Naomi, his eyes soft. "She also makes me a better man, a better leader. She challenges me, supports me, sees the best in me even when I don't see it myself." Turning back to the board, his voice grew firmer. "So if anyone has a problem with our relationship, speak now. If you think I should choose between her and this company, say it. But know this, I won't hide who I love. I won't pretend. And I won't apologize for finding happiness." Silence filled the room. Then one of the older executives, a woman named Margaret, spoke up. "Mr. Cole, I think I speak for most of us when I say we just want you to be happy. As long as there's no conflict of interest, and as long as Ms. Brooks continues to excel in her role, your personal life is your own." "Thank you, Margaret." Another executive nodded. "For what it's worth, I've reviewed Ms. Brooks's work. It's exceptional. If she's receiving any special treatment, it's because she's earned it." One by one, the board members voiced their support, some more enthusiastically than others, but none objected. Relief flooded through Naomi. "Thank you," Ethan said. "All of you. This means more than you know." After the meeting, people came up to congratulate them, to shake Naomi's hand, to welcome her officially into the Cole Enterprises family. "You did it," Naomi whispered to Ethan as they walked back to the office. "We did it. Together." That evening, Naomi was packing up her desk when someone knocked on the doorframe. "Marcus," she sighed. "What do you want now?" "I heard about the board meeting, about your big announcement." He stepped inside, hands in his pockets. "Guess you proved me wrong. I wasn't trying to prove anything to you, Marcus." "I know. That's what makes it so much worse." He moved closer. "I've been thinking a lot. About us. About how I treated you. Marcus, let me finish, please." He took a breath. "I was scared. Scared of how smart you were, how ambitious, how you wanted more than I could give you. So I put you down, made you feel small, convinced you that wanting better was selfish." His voice cracked. "I was wrong. You weren't the problem, I was. And I'm sorry. Truly sorry." Naomi studied his face. saw genuine remorse there. Thank you for saying that. It means something. But you're not taking me back. No, I'm not. Marcus nodded. I figured. But I had to try. Had to let you know that I see it now. See what I lost. He turned to leave, then stopped. For what it's worth, he's a lucky man, and I hope he knows it. He does. After Marcus left, Naomi sat down heavily. So much had happened. So much had changed. A year ago, she would have taken Marcus back, would have believed his apologies, and convinced herself she didn't deserve better. But now she knew her worth, knew what real love looked like, knew that she deserved someone who saw her strength as beautiful, not threatening. She'd grown, evolved, become the woman she was always meant to be, and it felt amazing. Saturday night, Ethan took Naomi somewhere special. Where are we going? She asked as they drove out of the city. You'll see. They pulled up to his grandmother's apartment building. Naomi smiled. We're going to her place? I have something to show you. Inside the apartment, everything looked the same. Cozy, warm, full of memories. But Ethan led her to the bedroom, a space she hadn't seen before. He opened a drawer and pulled out a small wooden box. My grandmother left me this, he said, sitting on the bed, with a note that said, give this to the woman who sees your heart. He opened the box. Inside was a simple gold ring. No diamonds, no flash, just a plain band with flowers carved into it. It was her wedding ring. She wore it for 53 years, through good times and bad, through struggles and joy. He took Naomi's hand. She said that real love doesn't need expensive things. It just needs two people willing to choose each other, every single day. Tears ran down Naomi's face. Naomi Brooks, I know we haven't been together long. I know people will say it's too fast, too soon, too much. But I also know that I want to spend the rest of my life choosing you. He slid off the bed and knelt in front of her. Will you marry me? Will you build a simple, beautiful life with me? Will you be my home? Naomi couldn't speak through her tears, could only nod. Yes, she finally managed. Yes, yes, yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. They held each other, crying and laughing at the same time. I can't believe this is real, Naomi whispered. Believe it. This is as real as it gets. They lay together on his grandmother's bed, talking about their future, where they'd live, how they'd blend their worlds, the family they'd build together. I want our children to know both sides, Naomi said. The wealth and the struggle, the privilege and the hard work. I want them to understand that money doesn't define worth. Agreed. And I want them to know your mother, your family, the strength that runs through your blood. They'll know both grandmothers, the one who's here and the one who watches from heaven. They'll be lucky kids. They'll be loved. That's all that matters. As the night deepened, they made plans. Simple plans. Real plans. Plans built on love and trust and partnership. 3 months later, they had a small wedding. Not in some fancy venue with hundreds of guests, but in a community center in Naomi's old neighborhood, with both their families, their real friends, the people who mattered. Naomi wore a simple white dress. Ethan wore a suit, but no tie. Jasmine was maid of honor. Vivian sat in the front row, crying happy tears. Naomi's mother walked her down the aisle. I'm so proud of you, baby girl, she whispered. You stayed true to yourself, and look what happened. Thanks, Mama. When Naomi reached Ethan, his eyes were bright with tears. You're beautiful, he mouthed. The ceremony was short, personal. They wrote their own vows. I promise to see you, Ethan said, every day. Not the role you play or the mask you wear, but the real you, the woman who's brave and strong and kind beyond measure. I promise to choose you, Naomi said, when it's easy and when it's hard, when people judge and when they celebrate, through every season, every storm, every joy. I choose you. They exchanged rings, his grandmother's band for Naomi, and a matching one Naomi had saved up to buy for Ethan. I now pronounce you husband and wife. They kissed as everyone cheered. The reception was simple, home-cooked food, a DJ playing a mix of old and new music, children running around, families blending and laughing and celebrating love. Vivian cornered Naomi during the reception. Thank you, she said. For what? For loving my son, for helping me remember what matters, for being patient with a stubborn old woman. Naomi hugged her. Thank you for raising such an amazing man. Later, Ethan pulled Naomi onto the dance floor. They swayed together, ignoring everyone around them. Happy? He asked. Happier than I ever thought possible. Me too. He kissed her forehead. I can't wait to spend forever with you. Forever. I like the sound of that. As they danced, Naomi looked around the room, at the blending of worlds, the mixing of cultures and backgrounds and experiences, rich and poor, black and white, all coming together in celebration of love. This was what mattered, not the money or the status or the opinions of strangers, just love, simple, honest, beautiful love. 6 months after the wedding, they sat on the rooftop of their apartment building. They'd chosen a place between their two worlds, not the penthouse Ethan could afford, not the tiny studio Naomi had lived in, but something in the middle, something that felt like home. "I got the promotion," Naomi said, reading an email on her phone. "Of course you did, you're brilliant." "And the foundation approved our proposal." They'd started a non-profit together, using Ethan's resources and Naomi's community connections to help young people from underprivileged backgrounds get into business careers. "That's amazing." Ethan pulled her close. "We're doing good work." "We are. Together." They watched the sun set over the city, the same city where they'd met, where they'd struggled and fought and finally found each other. "Do you ever regret it?" Naomi asked quietly. "Choosing this life? Choosing me?" Ethan turned to face her. "Never. Not for 1 second. You saved me, Naomi. From a life of loneliness and emptiness and going through the motions. You gave me something real. You saved me too, from believing I wasn't enough, from settling for less than I deserved." He kissed her, soft and sweet. "I love you," he said. "I love you too." As darkness fell, the city lights began to twinkle. Thousands of lives, thousands of stories, all moving forward, each in their own way. And somewhere in the middle of it all, two people sat together. A wealthy CEO who'd learned that money couldn't buy happiness, and a woman from humble beginnings who'd discovered her own worth. They'd found each other against all odds, fought for their love when everyone said it wouldn't last, built something beautiful from simple, honest foundations. "What are you thinking about?" Ethan asked. "Everything. Nothing. How lucky we are." Luck had nothing to do with it. This was choice, courage, faith, and love, especially love. Naomi rested her head on his shoulder. "At last you found your simple woman." Ethan smiled and held her tighter. "I found everything I ever needed." They sat there as the night deepened. The city hummed, and their future stretched out before them like an open road. Simple, beautiful, real, and absolutely perfect. The end.